with an air of witchy modernity.
Maternity.
Maternity?
If you're looking for a record that's pregnant, I recommend this one. I didn't feel much like Chinese.
Dear Lord.
This has been Norwegian Diversity with Mark and Stace. All right,
let's get back into some music.
Goodest album ever. Okay. The pork, the chicken. This is a little known fact. Okay. Not only is Home Chef's meat antibiotic free, they don't even let them take allergy meds.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
I have a new conspiracy. Well, not a conspiracy. It's a theory.
Okay.
It's a theory. I was reading somewhere that someone made an article about the fact that honey does not expire. Okay. And honey doesn't expire because it's only about 18% water. So there's not a lot and it's just the gooiness of it doesn't make it, a good host. And the bees also have something when they make it through their digestive system that makes it, I guess it's like a natural preservative.
It never goes bad.
I have thrown out honey that's crystallized, so maybe I don't store it correctly, but according to this theory, because it is, it's basically 80% of honey is sugar. Okay.
Yeah.
And they said that this was substantiated because when they opened up King Tut's tomb, there was 3,000-year-old honey.
Wow.
And they decided to taste test it. And they said it was sweet.
Pretty brave.
But then I started thinking, remember all the people who died that were involved in the opening of King Tut's tomb?
You're seeing a correlation.
I think it was the honey.
Eating 3,000-year-old food might do that to someone.
I'm all for one for, if the milk expired 2 days ago, if it passes the sniff test now.
Remember that? Was it a cereal or candy bar called Nut and Honey? Remember that?
Yeah.
What was it? A cereal?
Yeah, cereal.
It was a cereal. You know what they?
We had the bee on our one show.
You know what they? You know what they call that in Baltimore City?
Huh.
Nut and bitch.
Right up there with not your cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
Nacho cheese.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, that was an enlightenment on my part. I think I cracked the case.
I didn't feel much like Chinese. So the new Chris Rock Netflix special just came out. And it was filmed. He did it live, filmed in Baltimore.
Yeah,
and apparently he did it live because he didn't want to have to go back and edit it. He was just like, you know what, it's done, and I don't have to look at it again. So, it was pretty good. He had a lot of good material. He's in good shape, But I did notice that Chris Rock, when he knows he has an A-list joke, he hits it 3 times.
He has to do the kind of
3 times.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
David
he gets that look on his face. All right, so I can get into the character here. I didn't play Muhammad Ali. I was Pookie in New Jack City. Applause. I wasn't no prize fighter. I played motherfucking Pookie in New Jack City. Applause. That's right. Pookie in New Jack City, bitches. Then he's done. Anyway, but another thing I noticed about Chris Rock is that
is this thing on?
If you take the N-word out, he says the N-word so much that I think if you took it out, it would be like watching NFL Red Zone for a football game. Remember watching NFL Red Zone? Yeah. Or it's just like line up, tackle, line up, tackle. And you're like, God, this is too fast, right? If you did a Chris Rock show without the N-word, it would be NFL Red Zone. It would be like over in 20 minutes, So, yeah. That's true story. So, anyway, but hats off to Chris Rock live. Turned out great. He fucks up one joke and he's just like, oh, well, let me start over again. It's great.
Apparently, though, he took everyone's phones. Well, he didn't, personally. Security.
Well, I'm okay with that. I think for comedy, it makes sense because it's hard coming up with fucking material every week, But I don't understand why, seeing a Ramones cover band, they would have to take your phone away. I don't understand that. We know these songs. We've heard them before.
Yeah,
They're all streaming
they do give it to you. They just have it in this bag.
in a
that's
bag. Yeah.
basically
You can't access
unbreakable.
it. Right. So, so I was thinking about something the other day. So Stace and I, we try to drink alcohol in moderation. Okay. Once we get home from work and work out and whatever else, we'll have a couple of beers, and then around 9 or 10, we shift into wine mode. Red, a Merlot, room temperature.
Please don't put red wine in the refrigerator.
Oh,
Public service announcement.
Good God, no. So it is the greatest, and downshifting to anything else is exactly that. That's why do you think they made red wine? You make me feel so fine. That was written for a reason,
It was,
right? Yeah.
definitely.
So once in a while, something horrible happens, and it's almost always my fault. I try to be infinitely familiar with how much wine we consume on a typical night.
This is my fear of running out of wine.
Just enough to get that warm, hazy feeling where we both get kind of happy and talkative. Maybe the old family albums get busted out. We can look at pictures, the old pictures. Maybe we revisit an old Cary Grant movie and laugh at the suits and the dresses. And the chauvinistic comments, Maybe we doze off and spill wine all over the place, baptizing an unfortunate cat. Go back to the episode called Joe Jackson and the Wine Zombies, and you can see this phenomenon acted out in real time. So anyway.
Sometimes we eat late night snacks. Quite against our will.
We don't get there though if I fuck up the wine inventory. It'd be like, I thought that bottle was half full, but it's actually empty. And it happens right at the height of the night. I'm ready to do my Jimmy Stewart impression. See? And look at the pictures of the kids, Holy Communion, or us in high school, but no wine. Part of me dies a little. My outlook on life changes slightly. I feel abandoned and alone. The couch was such a simple, happy place a minute ago, and now I have to go break the news to Stace. But sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I see the most beautiful thing. That beautiful glass curved shape. Stace moved the wine when she was cleaning. Forget the Mona Lisa. Forget Kate Upton. The bonus bottle trumps them all. Velvet ropes part. Birds begin to sing. Jews and Arabs hug one another. Steve Carell forgives Ricky Gervais.
Dogs and cats living together.
And we happily take to the corkscrew. There are a few things more beautiful in life than the bonus bottle of wine.
Better
Unless
than the bonus fry.
Curvy shape is actually our cat sitting at the table in the dark. And not so fun. I'm not a lot of trouble with this corkscrew. Meow.
That actually happened once.
Remember the drizzling thing? Yeah.
Oh God, one night we forgot and we didn't want to drive. So we thought drizzly because, they're really great for sending gifts to people that you forget because they'll have it out within an hour.
Yeah.
But so we thought, fine, we'll give the app a whirl. And the woman called and said, hey, the app is going to say I'm there, but I won't be yet. In other words, like, don't report me. I'm running late. But I'll be there. So in the background, it sounds like this woman is maybe driving a school bus from the amount of kids that are like yelling in the background.
I was like, is that kids in the background?
She's
She's delivering alcohol with kids in the car?
So yeah, she finally pulls up around 9:30 at night with a minivan and full of kids and deposits our wine on the porch. And
she got a nice tip. I felt bad for that woman. That's a busy night. Yeah.
And worse, I accidentally ordered one bottle of sweet red, which I do not like.
Oh my God.
We had to dilute it with other things to drink it. Blech.
It was like poison. Oh,
it's like
freaking awful. Yeah.
Cough syrup.
Yeah. Okay, why don't we talk about our feature interview this week? Go ahead.
Our feature interview this week is with none other than Drew Slavik and Chris Fox from the Bay City, Michigan's legendary grindcore band, See You Next Tuesday. After 15 years apart, the band came together for the new album, Distractions, that just dropped last month. Brand spanking new, and it's a smoker, full of their signature high-pitched screams, pulverizing drums, and wild guitar squalls. Just take a look at that cover art. How could you not want to investigate that brutal beauty?
That was not an easy picture to make. They get
No.
into detail about how difficult it was to get the artwork that badass looking. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. It's a great conversation. We cover everything from the origins of the band in the early days to Chris's dog, to the evils of Amazon, to Drew's wife's tattooed butt. So,
And Chris's tattooing.
right. So, stay tuned for that. Why don't you introduce the song?
All right. This great song is from the 2007 album Parasite. This is Good Christians Don't Get Jiggy With Till After Marriage.
Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The website is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts.
And look what we have here.
Our 666 subscribers are now all getting a coffee mug
Take a look at this
Courtesy.
beauty.
of Stace and I.
Double-sided, rock and roll, and decay.
I guarantee your coffee will taste better in a Snaggle mug. But of course, the website is packed with exclusive content that you can only get there. This week, what are we doing? I think it's Stace's up this week.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a little more cooking in the kitchen. So let me be your Rachel Ray, and I'll show you my secrets.
Yeah. It's full of album reviews, book reviews, workout tips, Stacy's satanic recipes. I mean, you need to get over there
Book
and
reviews.
make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Come over and say hi on Instagram. It's instagram.com/snaggletooth. Give us a jingle on Facebook. We're everywhere, people.
We always have lots of hijinks and extra content. So
We got to get a new camera because
We
we're
do.
taking this shit on the road. So we need your patronage and your patriotism. So,
yep, we
yeah.
cannot film on our phones in a dark bar.
No,
That-
doesn't
we
work.
tried it for this. We actually saw See You Next Tuesday and tried to get some footage. It was very dark.
So here we are with Drew and Lauren from See You Next Tuesday.
That's my wife. She doesn't play in the band. She's adorable.
Everyone knows
self-conscious.
everyone knows all about her tattooed butt. Thanks to Drew.
You're welcome.
And we can't wait to see the show.
And come to Metro.
Great hanging out. And I promise I edited out most of the logistics stuff from the interview. So now we're going to move on to another segment of the show called Norwegian Diversity.
I think that's an oxymoron.
All right. So as I've stated before on the show, I work for a Norwegian-based company. And, I'm not sure how many people on the show know much about Norway, except for watching videos of Fenn Rees drinking beer and listening to Adrenaline OD on Instagram. According to Wikipedia, in 2012, an official study showed that 86 of the... According to Wikipedia, in 2012, an official study showed that 86% of the total population of Norway have at least one parent who was born in Norway.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's the whitest place on the planet, basically. Okay. Norway is the home of the Vikings, and it is a very homogenized culture. It's one of the most homogenized cultures there is. They don't have an influx of Canadians, Mexicans, Germans, Italians, African Americans the way that we do in the United States. Subsequently, the food there is fucking awful. It's just like smoked fish, every variety of smoked fish, basically. Everything's very bland, no spice. It's just a bunch of freaking white people up there, very
Definitely
tall,
no Old Bay.
with names like Gutorm and Stig. So, anyway, the funny part is, it was recently announced that we, the U.S. team, are going to have to go through diversity training taught by Norwegians. So I find this remarkably funny. In our office, our small office, we have black men, white women, black women, a gay man, Italians, a bunch of Canadians, and we're going to be taught diversity by a bunch of white people. So I just think it's hysterical. So and the first lesson they wanted to focus on the females. So what can we do to be more female friendly? I'm thinking, what are the Vikings going to have to say about diversity? I caught a net full of mackerel and haddock, and as we walked up the steep embankment back to the house, I was watching my wife Silge push that rickety wooden cart up the hill in the snow with about 80 pounds of fish in it. And I thought, maybe I should help her out. She is 8 months pregnant. I wanted to spend more time with my wife, so we're putting together a rap song called Oslo State of Mind. It's going to be huge.
Straight out of Oslo.
Straight out of Oslo. Gosh, it takes Bjorg Marie several hours to hike into town, go to the market, and come back with fish and supplies for the fam.
More fish.
I really wanted to pitch in and make her feel special for our anniversary. So I mended her snowshoes. Have fun, dear.
Maybe you could attach a little ski with some hot glue.
And finally, for the diversity focus, I've decided to let my wife get a driver's license. I was so excited about it. I wanted to film the experience. So we made a little video to commemorate the event, and I call it the Bjorn Identity.
Dear Lord.
This has been Norwegian Diversity with Mark and Stace. All right,
All right,
let's
let's go back into some music. This is Back to See You Next Tuesday. This is from the new album, Distractions. One of my favorites.
Ironically, it's called
Why Can't You Behave? Check out the video on YouTube, by the way. It's just Chris staring into the camera. We talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, home chef time.
All right. So our sponsor this week, if I could get my accoutrements, is our home chef. Ours was freshly delivered this morning. These meals are pre-portioned. They are great for 2. You can, for a small fee, increase the meat and make it for 4. They have main dishes. They have desserts. They have everything you need to make your meal, including your recipe cards with step-by-step instructions with pictures that go along with each step.
Why don't you read off some of the yummies
Right to your door.
from this week that we got? Yeah.
All right. So
I
we
can't wait to dive
this
into this
week,
shit. Yeah.
a beef meatball marinara with pesto zucchini and peppers.
You want a zucchini, you get a zucchini.
They also are great with and unlike Norwegians, incorporating spices and a lot of taste into these recipes. It's all about the sauces. It's all about roasting. I used to do frozen vegetables. I haven't done frozen vegetables in years since I started with Home Chef. We also have a pretzel crusted chicken with roasted broccoli and honey mustard sauce. Looks extremely yummy. They will also tell you how long the recipe takes, whether it's spicy, difficulty level. It's all right here for you. I am so excited to try this one. They always come up with different things. This is a Southwest style salmon burger, and it looks like, and taco fries.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. You would never also get frozen fries again once they show you how easy it is to cut up a potato and make fries in the oven. It's super easy.
You want a potato, you get a potato.
You want a veggetti? Well, that's a different thing. And we also have a tonkatsu pork chop with miso mushroom rice. So you can go on, pick the meals that you like. They allow you, if, say, you want to change the meat, you can change the meat. You can change the portions.
The pork, the chicken, this is a little known fact, okay? Not only is Home Chef's meat antibiotic free, they don't even let them take allergy meds. That's quality.
They also keep them off the red wine. So all of this, we got 4 meals shipped to our door for about $75. So it's really a great value. A lot of times we have leftovers from these.
We usually get two sittings out of each meal.
Yeah. So it's a great value. You don't have to go to the grocery store, right to your door. Fantastic food. And you will learn different cooking techniques.
Yes. It sounds like it is time for Wax of Contrition. This week is all about obituary. So let's start it off. Goodest album ever. Okay. Obituary, Slowly We Ride. What a debut. This is legendary for a reason. Now, to latter day ears, modern ears, it might not sound that far removed from darker thrash metal, but during the Florida death metal boom in the 90s, this album earned a place as an oft-visited mecca for the sick and the twisted. Guitarists aren't downtuned, but they sound like it. The Tardy brothers and guitarist Trevor Perez and Alan West, along with producer Scott Burns, yes, the Scott Burns, Frankenstein this into one of Mars Sound's heaviest recordings. Obviously, the guys were fans of Celtic Frost. The band channeled the same fluctuating tempos from tight, rattling speed to hazy, slow burn in every track. There's a sort of a shrewdness to the construction of the songs. Obituary limits the changes to maybe 2 or 3 choice patterns per song. And the band knows how to stumble into a winner, sawing on a good riff for just the right amount of time. John Tardy was an artisan in the genre, chewing and vomiting his signature, disgustingly beautiful vocals. The result is a choice collection of filthy headbanging masterpieces like Intoxicated, Gates of Hell, and the title track. The Obituary debut is one of those records I can't be impartial about it. It's just been too many hours in hanging out in parking lots with it blasting out of the car stereo. The album title is an adage for a lifestyle, poisoning our eardrums with an infernal racket and toxifying our bodies with heinous substances. Along with, like, I don't know, Cannibal Corpse's Eaten Back to Life, Dismember's debut, and a few others. It's just one of those records that makes living on this planet a little sweeter. Play it over and over again until your plants die and your dogs yowl. So let's play a song. This is Intoxicated. Okay, Wax of Contrition continues. We're all about Obituary. We had the Alpha and now we have the Omega. This year's Dying of Everything on vinyl.
I have to say, when I was just, I run and I listen to new releases and just see what catches my ears. The first time I heard it, and of course I'm running, I can't always look down to see exactly who it is. So I just have to kind of take note of like the cover colors and then look at it later. I was so thrilled and couldn't wait to tell you that it was new Obituary.
I know it seems like we talk about this album every week, but check it out. There's an interview from January that I found. It's online. It's on a podcast somewhere. It's with Don Tardy. And it's fascinating. He keeps going back to how the key to Obituary is that they have to be having fun.
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot, especially in this genre of music. So after the pandemic hit, apparently the music shop that supplies the band, down in Florida with equipment told, because their business was in the crapper too, told the Tardys that they should do a live stream. So they ended up doing 3 initially, 2 with a big stage show, and then 1 in their basement studio. And everyone seemed to dig the basement one the best because they liked all the in-between chatter and stuff. I mean, I can only imagine what it would be like to have seen, like, if Cannibal Corpse had done, like, like a session in their basement together. Or Slayer, I would have fucking died to see that, with screwing up and, ragging on each other. That would have been the best, right? But anyway, really interesting stuff. They actually ended up live streaming the first 2 records from front to back.
Wow.
And they got their longtime producer, Joe Kincada, to produce them, and they put them out on vinyl. Cause of Death, Live Infection, and Slowly We Rot, Live and Erotic. So great stuff.
And we will get to see them live in about a month.
Of Obituary. I don't care if they're the Arby's of death metal. I love Arby's. So let's play Without a Conscience.
So back to See You Next Tuesday. We really enjoyed our talk with Drew and Chris. We enjoyed meeting them. That show was one of the culminations. I think every band that took the stage got a little better. And then the veterans See You Next Tuesday got on there and just slayed everybody. It was a really amazing show. I
think we interviewed them on a Thursday and the show was on a Monday or something. We didn't get to see them on Tuesday. So.
It was a Thursday.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's our chat. And thank you guys so much for bringing us this amazing music. Well, I just always, whenever I see a girl and like her entire butt is tattooed, I'm like, okay, your boyfriend's a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I think the same thing. On Instagram, when you see the ridiculous amount of tattoos on a woman, I'm like, all right, you married the guy, So.
Well, my wife's got her butt tattooed, but I'm not a tattooer.
I just don't know if I feel comfortable with here's my butt. I mean, I've had lots of parts of me tattooed, but I've never gone there with it. Maybe it's just
I don't know. I mean, it was this dude from France, Sebastian Kadinsky.
Okay.
Which if you go to Instagram, I'm sure you'll find my wife's butt at some point. But he's done multiple butts, so you won't probably figure out exactly which one's my wife per se. But it's definitely the best looking one on there.
Okay, well there you go.
But
they really like that one. They really like that one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He I'm clicking a little bit over here. He the dude from France that tattooed my wife's butt came over here to Chicago, and we happened to like slide in and get a spot with him. So it's like, I'm never gonna see this fucking guy again. You know what I mean? Now my wife's got a super hot butt. Oh hey,
Yeah, no, that's great. Everybody wins. Yeah, I like it.
exactly. It is a win-win.
I'm gonna have to get brave with it or something. But see, we always go to the same guy, so like we know him, and I just don't want to be like, here's my ass,
Yeah.
I get that. See, I'm an adventurer when it comes to getting tattoos. Like I get them in travels or shortly after I get back or something of that nature. Like if something in my life that happens or something, I'll be like, oh, okay, I should probably document that. Or I just stumbled across a fucking tattoo, you're out doing something and, whatever city you're in and boom.
Yeah, we have
you
this
get a
kooky
tattoo.
friend, and he was telling me, because I always tell him I'm very careful about when I pick my tattoo designs and artists.
Sure.
And he says, well, sometimes you just go to the shitty ones too. I'm like, okay.
I mean, we all turn 18 at some point in our lives and make the decision to permanently put shit on our bodies.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you know what? When you're 18, you're not paying $1,000 for a good tattoo. You're getting something to cover up underneath a bunch of black. Because that's what adults do.
Yeah.
Hey, Fox.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
Hey, there's a man.
Greetings.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
we hear you.
Yeah.
And we
Yep.
see you.
Okay, cool. This is the
We're
first
batting
time I've ever
1,000.
used Zoom, so I don't know if I'm doing things right. Apparently I am. So cool.
So
Yay.
your tattoo victim was done early then.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's great.
Just got done smashing some chicken nuggets and some jelly beans, and now I'm ready to go.
All right, very good.
Well, we have definitely been enjoying distractions a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
well, thank you.
Wow.
Yes, thank you.
At the very beginning, I was reading where you almost said this band was like a joke or a stunt. How did it evolve into the passion that it is today?
Well, I mean, I guess I was the one around during its inception. Fox joined literally like when things got awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you joined. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just lucked out.
I was going through
guess.
shitty stuff with other bands. I paid my dues
Yeah, exactly.
anyways.
That's true. He was consistent. I mean, that's how we came across the dude, is obviously because he was in another fucking band of similar awesomeness, and we're like, well, shit. Anyway, we'll get to that story. I'm sure that'll come up at some point.
Yeah.
How did the funniness start? Oh, I mean, we're seeing next Tuesday. It means cunt. What's
Right.
not to be? What's not funny? I don't understand.
I think they were asking how it became serious, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
How did it go from being like I don't know, like a sloth, like sloth never got serious, like whereas,
Right. I got you.
that
I
kind-
got you. I think once people started giving a shit, really is when it started to culminate, we started playing more shows because they became fun, because like people came to started showing up to some degree. And, and I want to say it was probably around the summer sampler era, which, if I'm not mistaken, was like late 2005, early 2006, which was like right when MySpace was starting to like become something, or at least we got some, some notoriety or whatever from that. But we just, we're one of the up and comers, I guess, to some degree. We started touring with other bands that ended up also having like fruitful careers, such as like Heavy Lolo was one that we did shows with in the very beginning. And they're doing the same thing. They're all coming back right now too. Just watching these videos of them in like Texas or something. It's sick, it's awesome. Like, I love everybody just is back at it and just like, fuck it. Let's just start playing music again. But yeah, so it's just it kind of started around then. We started booking more, we started going out of state more, and people started really giving a shit, to the point where we could do it consistently enough, like even as DIY, booking on MySpaces, doing show trades, for shows in Michigan, for people out of state, random shit to get a tour together in the MySpace era. Not to like try to clump myself into that. I feel like we try to avoid that to some degree, but I have to owe like our early booked tours to MySpace.
Wow.
Not to venture off too much, but I have a quick story that when we used to be on tour, we utilized MySpace in the way that like, oh crap, a show fell through. We don't want a day off because like we might not have enough gas to get to where we're going past that, because it was like 2005 and we were dumb and in our 20s. And I would jump on MySpace and find like another show going on, and we would go there and just ask to play. And like, we can play like 5 songs, whatever you will let us do. You don't even need to pay us. We just want to set up our merch. We had a couple t-shirt designs, and we had free stickers, and like we were selling the summer sampler at the time for like $5, And if it wasn't for MySpace, we wouldn't have been able to fill those voids. And honestly, like we had shows that got shut down in the middle of them or just got canceled the day of. And like we ended up meeting long-term friends by like posting on MySpace and getting a house show in Boise, Idaho, and just, playing at this like theater at this like black metal fest that was going on in the middle of the summer in Salt Lake City, Utah. Like we just happened to get on this shit and get us to the next destination.
Well, the Mormons are really into black metal. I can see that.
Dude, for real, man. That was a cool show.
So it sounds like it was literally like people are showing up for this shit that we're doing for fun. Maybe we got something here. Was it kind of like that? I mean,
I think it was always from the get-go. So to kind of go back to my early dumb years, I mean, the biggest thing that we tried to accomplish in the early years of See You Next Tuesday, probably even pre-making it serious, was putting on a good show.
Right.
And like I was always a really big fan of bands like Chariot, was a really big one. Every Time I Die, Dillinger Escape Plan, Coalesce. You watch those bands live, and they don't have their square that they stand in. Their chaos. We played with the Chariot one time at this festival in like Vegas, and I remember their singer like up in the rafters, and I'm like, this is one of our first tours. We just landed this fucking fest, and actually I think it was the very first time we went out west from Michigan, as we landed this fest and played with the Chariot, and it was just like from even before that, it was amazing just to see it in real person, or in real life or whatever. But yeah, overall, I think it started with just putting on a show, like a performance, like we're a band, we got a silly name, but like I started writing these tunes that I'm sort of proud of or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like I wanted to turn heads. I always said that. That was like something I said. I sound like I'm 40 because I am. But,
yeah.
I would always say that to people, they would, what's the one thing you want people to remember about See You Next Tuesday is I want to be like that band that turns your head. You went to see Job for a Cowboy to do the Scream, and, you heard this fucking band doing this crazy shit, and you go over there and they're not looking at the fretboard and they're just being dumb idiots and hurting themselves. But we were in our 20s, so like we recouped.
Yeah.
Unlike now. But yeah, I think that's where it really started to come to fruition, is like, finding not necessarily the sound yet, but just being able to differentiate between a performance and just being in the band,
So where did you get the name? And are there ever like hate mail people who don't like it, or?
Yeah, because I didn't think any band was going to outdo Agoraphobic Nosebleed with a name, but you did. So.
I mean, there's anal cunt.
Honestly, it was an episode of Sex and the City.
Oh wow.
Yeah, literally. Charlotte has Samantha's over for something, I don't remember, but like she reaches for a coffee mug and her butt hangs out, and how Charlotte is. She's like, I can see her See You Next Tuesday, and I lost it.
How Charlotte is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Charlotte.
No, for real though. Like I just laughed my ass off. I was like, that's so fucking clever. So literally, like I wanted, when in the inception of the band, I was kind of mentioning earlier about, trying to just like perform, like it needed something impactful. Like you said, you'll never forget Seaman's Tuesday
Right,
for stupidity, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like in England, they throw that word around. It doesn't mean anything, But in the United States, everybody's all uptight about it. It's totally an American thing.
You guys heard the record?
Huh?
You guys have heard the record?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you heard the intro track, right? How insensitive.
Yeah, there's a lot of saying the word cunt in the intro. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually those are blind interviews that I did with coworkers at my job.
Calling each other cunts.
Oh well, actually, I wanted to take the power away from the word. That was my whole goal. So it was like I told them I was doing like a podcast for like an art piece. I don't know. And I got him over to my house, and I told him, I was like, you got to swear a lot, and like you're being recorded, so like produce me some samples here. So I'd make sure like when I swear, follow suit and swear too. I coached him a little bit, but then I was like, okay, how do you feel about the word cunt? And they're just like, oh, see you next Tuesday. Because they knew I was in a band before, and that's the joke around the office, right? It's I was fucking in a band called Cunt, but so yeah, it's a bunch of people being like, nah. And then I ask, are you offended by the word cunt? And a lot of everyone's response, thankfully, out of the like 7 people that are in that, all said, no, I'm not offended by the word cunt. So if you really listen to all of that nonsense that's going on, there's a bunch of people that are like, nah, I don't really think it's that offensive.
There's a story in Lemmy's biography where he says that they had some like agent or whatever and they knew right away that they couldn't trust him because he couldn't use the word cunt right. Like instead of coming in and saying, all right, you bunch of cunts, he would come in and say, all right, it's bunches of cunt. It's like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
You got to get the lingo right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to drop the C word.
Yeah, if you're going to drop it right. Yeah. So.
Oh, and to answer your question from a little while ago, no, we never really got too much hate for having the name. Overall, I felt that out of everything we ever did was the most accepted amongst the metal scenes.
We interviewed Tim Green of the fucking Champs, and he said they got quite a bit. I was surprised.
Yeah, just because they had the F word in their name. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird. Different times, man.
I know.
So
maybe, I mean, there's like, we're only like got so much reach because the record's not out yet. Who knows? Maybe in 2023 we will, in fact. And Fox can give me a big "I told you so."
So we've been waiting 15 years for this, which I'm so glad you guys are back. What was kind of the impetus that got everything rolling again?
Oh, geez. Fox, you want to talk at all?
I can. I have a voice.
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
I was around for this stuff. Hey, you're fine. I don't care. I mean, we've been around in a very in little capacity since 2015. We played a few shows. We did like a comeback show at a festival here in Michigan in 2015, and we were kind of treating the band as like a second job. Like if somebody wanted to pay us some money or something cool came up that we could do. But really, I don't know why I'm answering this question because Drew's the one that got the ball rolling.
Because we want to include
as far as the album. Yeah, right. I guess. Yeah. But yeah,
We're
Drew.
friends,
Yeah, Drew started writing. So that's what kind of got this ball rolling. And something I never thought was gonna really happen again, but it did, and that's why we're here. I suppose I don't know if Drew wants to touch base on why we started writing, but yeah, here we are now. Almost 40 and late 30s, and feeling way fucking older than having way harder of a time playing shows now. And needing way more Pepsi AC.
Hurting, going to a
Yeah, oh
chiropractor
my
the
God.
next
I
fucking
get
6 days in a row.
every time we've done a run of shows, I've been sick for the next week after, just because I'm so feeble now. It's awful, but it's great at the same time. But yeah,
Yeah.
what
I
brought
guess
us back is just Drew, I guess.
yeah, I mean to touch base on that, you know, I've kind of said some stuff in some interviews recently and stuff like that. It's just a touchy subject, you know. We had not touchy per se. I'm actually proud of what happened. It's just hard to like get into because it's sad. But in a nutshell, distractions at its core is in itself our distraction. It started with just mine as myself, and eventually it culminated into a distraction for Fox as well. And by distraction, not something that made us procrastinate or something like that, and a good distraction, like something to get us out of something we were in. My particular thing was alcohol. You know, this right now will be my longest stretch of sobriety since my 20s, when I also stopped drinking from my teens. So again, not to get all like dark and sad and stuff, but you know, like not necessarily tragedy, because I mean, like, you know, I'm an alcoholic. Is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna be like weird about it or whatever. But yeah, I'm 30 months sober. October of 2020. I took my last drink, and I say this every time. I owe all of it to my wife, Lauren. 100% of it. She was the one that got the strength. We were both in it together. We're kind of like these like little perfect demons, is what we called it.
I think
We
you
fed
owe it
off
to
of
her.
each other.
You owe it to her tattooed butt, is what you owe it to.
Exactly. My hot ass wife in the butt. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you know, COVID was a motherfucker, man. It's the first time ever the entire world all had something really shitty happen to it. So no one had like a way to, no one knew what to fucking do. You know, it's not like one country was in peril. It was the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
And I'm a mailman, and I spent 70 hours a week delivering Amazon packages for people pretty exclusively. I mean, there's letters mixed in every once in a while, but you know, people were sitting at home with stimulus checks.
Yeah.
My wife was in a profession where she got quarantined. So we had polarizing lives, and it culminated into 2 different drinking habits. So, you know, it's just one of those things, you know. I'm not privileged enough to take one drink. You know, if I take one, I'm gone for 6 years. And that's just the moral of the story. And distractions is what did it for me. And honestly, you know, starting the band the first go around was actually my first delving back into society, really. Because when I was in my teens, I started drinking and sought after drugs and stuff. And I shut off from the world, dropped out of high school, and just worked and kept to myself. And it wasn't until my early 20s when I started writing for See Next Tuesday, getting into bands and stuff. That was like my first going out into public, because all I knew were people that drank.
Yeah.
You know, especially when I entered my early 20s. I didn't drink the entire time. I've never played See Next Tuesday while I was drinking, except for like the few shows Fox mentioned earlier, where we did a couple of fests, you know, which like I didn't really take it seriously, you know, I'll be honest. But yeah, so not to get super duper dark and stuff. I hope that's not the entire interview, because it's
No.
super fun to laugh. But yeah, so that's just yeah, I'm 30 months without alcohol. So yeah, like I said, I'm not embarrassed to talk about it or anything like that. It's come up a lot, you know, like this isn't the first interview we sat down and had. And obviously the name, just describing the name has to tell the story, you know what I mean? The story is in the name. And if you listen to the 12th track, you know, this is what God looks like to me, you know, that's like a little play I wrote. So if you listen to the conversation the 2 people have in that, you'll kind of, that's my way to just let people know that, like, you know, fucked up stuff happens to all of us. And like, find a distraction.
No, I get it. I get it.
That's
So we
Fox
had-
something. I feel really bad.
Oh, we had some specific things about this album, including questions for Chris. But when we were listening to it, we were wondering if all the drums were organic, because like some of the blast and songs like What a Funny Girl Used to Be almost sound like a drum machine.
They're all programmed.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
Yeah. I
Very
did it
agoraphobic.
all.
Yeah.
I did it all in my home over the
Okay.
course of 2 years.
Okay.
And as much as I know drums, and I'm a moderate drummer, you know, I could play a rock beat, but no, I can't play to that skill level. And honestly, like, it wasn't until I was, well, let's just put it this way. Andy was part of the band during the writing of it. Obviously, we did like that Wax Vessel stuff, you know, and we had played a few shows. I mean, we had been pretty inactive, obviously, during COVID. No one was fucking doing anything.
Right.
But he was like the member, right? And honestly, it wasn't till we were almost done, when I was almost done, and like I wrote all these parts and stuff, and Andy was supposed to learn them and come back and do them in the studio. We were going to the studio and do it. And yeah, he just came to, you know, came out with the fact, he's like, dude, took a promotion at work, and I don't have the time to learn this shit and go to the studio or even play it live. Like, he's just like, no, he didn't say shit. He was very, very candid. You know, Andy and I are still good friends. We still talk. Like, there's no malice there whatsoever. It was just, you know, I get it, dude. I totally get it. You know, like, if it wasn't for this, I would be doing something different too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like my project or whatever, but you know, like, it was my savior, I guess. You know, I put my heart into it, so I understand him not wanting to bend over backwards to do that. And you know, I'm very thankful Fox was. But suffice it to say, push came to shove, and we didn't have time to re-record them or find somebody. I mean, by the time I turned the masters in, we still hadn't had a drummer. We didn't find Jimmy until like shit, almost 3 weeks after I turned the masters in back in June.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was just not an opportunity. So, yeah, they're programmed. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I'm sure we will get flack for it by somebody, but whatever. I mean, the gist is there. Plus, I mean, if you listen to the record, it does give a large nod to electronic music.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we interview bands that are in this genre. And the drummers are in 27 different bands. This is why.
Right.
Because drummers that can play like this are in high demand.
Fuck.
Like,
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
Fuck yes. And like I said before, I live in small town nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm 2 hours from Detroit. And even that, I mean, like, Detroit's got, you know, Alan Cassidy and Zach Gibson. You know what I mean? Like, how many bands can two people be in?
Yeah. No, I hear
But
you.
yeah, so it is what it is, you know, like, you know, I listen to them. I like how they sound. My drum sample, you know, these samples I curated and, you know, tweaked to my degree. You know, I created them to some fashion. The sample that I use, we trigger live. Our drummer now uses kick triggers live because they just fucking slam, and that's awesome. Because
Yeah.
you know, it's that sample from the record, so I feel proud that I can like take it around. We've gotten compliments. Like, I've literally, Fox is wearing a Mutilatred hoodie right now, and the dude from that band was just like, "Dude, where'd you get that fucking sample? It crushes." So I was like, "Dude,
that's
you
great.
should know I made it." So it was that.
Chris,
Hi.
where'd he go? There he is.
I'm right here.
Love your vocals. But how do you get into that? How did you learn kind of how to do that and not kill your voice?
I mean, I'm killing it right now, not being back in the day it was a lot easier because we were doing it every day and my throat was like conditioned for it. Now it's pretty rough. In the studio it was awful. Drew can attest to me fucking choking and coughing and not being able to do it as well as I used to. It was a very rough go. We'd only get like half done what we wanted to for the day because my throat was just torched. But how I got into it, I mean, I I started playing in bands when I was a teenager and just started trying to emulate, stuff I liked, and eventually just kind of was able to do what I do now. Just kind of learned how to do it, I guess. I didn't have any like
Muscle memory.
coaching or anything.
Yeah.
Actually, I did have a little bit of coaching from just the slightest bit when we were on tour with the Red Chord way back when. Gunface, their guitar player, who is also a phenomenal vocalist, coached me a little bit back then, and he taught me a lot of stuff I didn't really realize. But other than that, I've never had any sort of like coaching whatsoever. It's just all figuring it out how to do it myself, I guess.
You guys have been on tour with like every great metalcore band. You just, oh my gosh.
We looked out. We had Matt Pike behind us and Carl Severson and
Oh
stuff.
my
So
Yeah.
it's
Did
like,
you ever do any-
we had two dudes that for some reason really thought we had something, which is just really flattering.
Did you
Yeah,
ever guys
we were
ever
very
tour with?
fortunate.
Did you guys ever tour with like Botch or
I wish. Fuck.
Vision of
They're fucking
Disorder?
listening
I
right
mean, my
now.
God.
No.
Man, that is. Well,
No,
you have a
but I
very
am-
impressive resume of bands.
Through the Eyes and the Dead and I are kissy facing back and forth on Facebook right now. So
The thing about metalcore is that we have two shows, right? We have a rock and roll show, and then we have an extreme metal show. And metalcore falls right in the middle. Like, I don't know which side to put it on. I kind of lean towards the Decay show, like the heavier show, but it really could go either way.
yeah, for sure.
It's like right down the middle. Yeah.
That's
So-
fun.
Chris, I love your guys' YouTube channel. I was just geeking out on it, but what the heck is going through Chris's head during that lyric video where he's just sitting there and I'm like, what is it? And
What
he's
was going
like-
through my head was try not to make it seem like I'm looking at a clock the whole time timing it out. 'Cause I had a clock right in front of me because I knew exactly how long the song was. When I was recording myself, the song wasn't playing. It was just like dead note, the silence. So I was just like acting the whole time. So I was trying to make it seem like I wasn't looking at a clock the whole time, but it was. But yeah, just wanted to do something silly. That's all the YouTube channel is gonna end up being, is silly stuff for the most part, I think.
It was really good. I like your
Thanks.
guys' play through things too, because you can really see like the two guitars going at it, and I don't know how you pick the stuff that goes in the green screen, but it's interesting.
It is.
Well, all the dogs you saw in the second video, what's that one for? In the beginning, I think.
I don't remember.
All the dogs, those are all our grind pups. Fox has Frank. I have Hazel, Ruby, and Baron. Jimmy's got Louie and Luna, and Rick has Lizzie.
Yeah.
So
And then the
we're,
one video was all a nod to Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the Delaware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
welcome to
when they had the
Delaware.
green screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna do more. People are asking for Why Can't You Behave? Because I do a lot of tapping stuff in there, so we've been getting a lot of requests for that. So I'm trying to. We're at some point we'll have some time.
Yeah.
Fox and I live almost 2 hours apart from each other, and we're obviously I'm a mailman and he tattoos, so we're both exceptionally busy people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love in Why Can't You Behave, kind of, it's like the lyrics about kind of the temptress and the fire and kind of that I succumbed. Is that like literal or figurative, or is it about a real person?
I mean, it was about an instance that I had, a long time ago. Okay, so when we were writing the album, I had some we definitely wanted to touch on a lot of like mental health issues with the lyrics, but I was having a lot of trouble in the beginning formulating how to write stuff like that because I hadn't done it in a while, and I was kind of like just searching for answers through like stuff I had written way previous. And I came across that in a poem version of that song, and I just liked how the contrast could be between kind of like sexy lyrics against like the chaos of what we actually play.
Right.
And so I mean it was in fact it was a very inflated I was just searching at the time. I was just like, I need to write, and so I was thinking about stuff, and that's what I was thinking about at the time. But I just needed to inflate it to be more interesting in a writing sense. But yeah, it's a real thing, I guess.
Because the lyrical themes have changed back from the days when, before I die, I'm gonna fuck a fish, and this is kind of, these are, I mean, there's wacky moments, but it's not that, it's
Right.
definitely changed.
Yeah.
What do you think kind of caused that to kind of on this album?
Well, I mean, as far as like the Parasite song titles,
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with any of those songs. Were already named before I even joined the band and wrote lyrics to them. Those are all just like references to like pop culture stuff. As far as the lyrical content of Parasite, it was fairly serious.
A lot of love songs, actually.
Yeah,
Not necessarily in
more
like
like heartbreak type songs, because I was
yeah,
just a fucking
yeah. They were a
kid
little
in
emo.
my
for
early
sure.
20s. Yeah, it's just like, I hate my ex-girlfriend. But
Yeah.
but
He never wore a white belt and had the swoopy hair, but
I mean, before I was in the band, yeah, I did. But
Aw.
but I mean, now I'm older now, and so the stuff I write about is going to be a bit more mature. So I have different things I think about now, and so that's what's going to come out of me.
It has been 15 years.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, even the
point,
stuff on Intervals was a lot more mature than Parasite. It's definitely been steps up.
I think it's interesting that I meant to mention this before, that MySpace had such a big part of what you became, because that website was like a science project. I mean, let's get real. I mean, it was a mess.
Oh yeah, but it was like it was the first.
It was, yeah. I would go on a band's MySpace and I'd be like, what is that? Horrible.
All right, so it has come time for us to play our game here.
Yes.
I have 100 random questions, and normally if it's one.
No, we're not going to ask you 100 questions.
No, we're not. But we would like you both to pick 3 numbers, and they will correspond to random questions.
Right.
Between 1 and 100.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do 3 each, or just 3 in general?
3 each. 3 each. Yep.
Go ahead, Drew.
Well, shit. I guess I got to take 69.
Yeah.
We start with 69.
Yeah. That's probably pretty common, I would expect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna also take 9 because that's my route number. I'm City 9 in Midland, Michigan.
Stop.
Yep. And then fuck it, I'll take 42 because I'm on the 42 zip side of the office.
Lucky. You're torturing me. You are.
I know. Don't you love it?
I know.
my life is fucking numbers, man.
I'm gonna take MAEU 217324 because that's the container that I.
Love it.
Katarina from A School of Grind chose 69 because she said that's where you always start.
And she never explained it, and we never asked her to. So I was like, okay, yeah.
All right. That's. It's honestly for me, it's just like my wife and I are still dorks, and we go 69.
Yeah.
Like when we see it on a fucking
yeah.
sign or something. It's just, what's the point of living if you don't act like a dumbass?
All right, Chris, pick 3 numbers.
I'm gonna pick my birthday. 5784.
All right.
All right, look at that. Okay.
I like it. All right. So for Drew, number 69. If you could learn a skill you do not currently possess, what would it be?
Fucking singing. Like singing.
Really? Like Pavarotti?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm a very unemployable musician in my local scene. I have oh my God. I practice a lot. Like I try very hard to be in bands and stuff. And literally See Next Tuesday is the only band that really took me in. Well, because I started it, I guess. But yeah, it was I played upright bass in a jazz trio for 3 years, and then I played acoustic guitar in a duet with my wife, and she sang because she's got a beautiful voice, which by the way she sings on the record, and she's some of the voices in the record too.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going with that.
Singer.
What was that? What's that?
unemployable.
Oh yeah. I wish I could sing because I get sorry.
He wants to do the Volare.
Yeah, I mean, I would try out for these bands. Everyone thinks I'm a bass player where I live. Every other musician, because no one knows me as Drew for Cynics Tuesday. I'm just fucking Drew from Guitar Center, right? So, and I played bass then, and I played bass in an upright trio and stuff. So, like, everyone's like, "Hey, we're looking for a bass player." I'm like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm not doing anything. I'll try out." This is, years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, every time, they'd have like a mic sitting there, and then you get the text the next day that's like, "Hey, man, we're really looking for like a bass player that can also like sing." And I'd be like, "Well, that's why I said right off the bat, I don't sing at all." So it doesn't matter the talent you are. If you cannot sing, the amount of gigs you can play are very, very minimal.
I have a
So
Guitar
that's my
Center
answer.
story. So I remember being like 19 and going to
Okay.
Guitar Center for the first time and
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
"Hi, I'd like to buy a G string." Not a G string like a female G string. Like I just wanted one fucking string. And they're like, "Yeah, you got to buy the pack, dude." And I'm like, "Why?"
Oh.
I
They
only
didn't
know
sell
one
singles
string.
at your Guitar Center. We sold singles at ours.
New singles.
You
They
got-
were like, "Get the fuck out of here." Steve Vai was behind the counter and he said, "Get the fuck out of here." And I was like, I gotta buy one. I gotta buy the whole pack. I don't need the whole pack anyway. I'll never forget that. I felt so inadequate.
Guitar Center
All
is
right.
not. It's not for the people.
For Drew number 9, how often do you talk to yourself out loud?
Never.
Ever. Wow.
Yeah. I have a very, very active internal voice though.
Yes, yes.
It's just one of those things where I'm in tune with now. But overall, if you were to see me in real life, I'm not this talkative. I'm like, especially at shows and stuff, like I'm rehearsing and practicing in my head and stuff like that. And just I'm a sit in the back and think kind of guy. So,
Introvert. Yeah.
yeah, I guess. I mean, if you get me going, I'll say some funny shit. But
You already
for the most
have.
part-
You already have. Yeah, I mean,
Number 42, do you have any nicknames?
besides Drew,
Yeah.
'Cause my actual name is Andrew. So I guess that would be
that counts.
nickname.
That counts.
Yeah. I mean, I've been called stupid shit throughout my life, but my wife and I call each other Beeb. It was like a drunken thing that we just kind of culminated into a cute little word, and it's now tattooed on us both, so we just rolled with it even into sobriety. So yeah, we call each other Beeb. She's little Beeb and big Beeb, and we're just fucking dorks.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
All right, for Chris, number 5, what OCD habits do you have?
That's there's a lot. I'll say one though. So I am a tattooer and I own a tattoo shop, and the walls are just covered in framed artwork. And if they're not like perfectly straight and like level, I freak out. And I feel like somebody comes into my shop like every night and just like tweaks them a little bit. Yeah. And so every morning it probably, he's a piece of shit. So I fucking our bass player works at the shop I own as well. But yeah, so like it's like always I'm just like looking around, freaking out, like tweaking frames. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. It bugs the shit out of me.
If you're the boss,
yeah,
if you're the boss, and we know
like it has
that
to look right.
yeah, if we know that we can fuck with the boss by messing with the frames, then we're gonna do that.
And I'm gonna one day just flip out on everybody and close the shop because the frames aren't straight. Yeah,
It's real life right there too.
yeah.
It's not exaggerating.
All right, Chris, what is the weirdest thing in your parents' or grandparents' house?
I don't know. Oh geez. So I don't think it's there anymore, but my grandma, my whole life she's lived by herself in this tiny little apartment. And she had this like scrub brush in her shower that was like a naked lady, like the handle of it. And I obviously remember it because I was a little kid looking at a naked lady. But it not until I was adult, I was like, why the fuck did my grandma have this fucking weird scrub brush in her fucking shower this whole time? And I don't think she has it anymore, but it just always kind of like
That's a
growing up,
legit
I'm like,
question.
what the fuck
Yeah.
does she have this for? But
Yeah,
I guess
that's
that's the
legit.
first thing that comes to mind, I guess.
All right, Chris, number 84. Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote? I do. It's from Charles Bukowski. And it's "Don't try."
We all go through the Bukowski phase.
And it's
We all do.
it's just let things happen, pretty much. Don't. I mean, it's obviously smart to work for something you want, but don't freak out when it doesn't happen. I guess just don't try. Yeah, just fucking let things happen, and you'll be a lot happier.
I was insufferable in my Bukowski phase. I'd like,
yeah,
don't even talk to me. I wouldn't even know who that person was. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
there you
So,
go.
oh, I know what I wanted to ask you about. I saw your meet and greet with your cunt burgers. What is on a cunt burger?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
Or in?
It was so when we did that thing with Kuma's, it was actually Fox that lined it up. His previous band, the band he was playing in when we asked him to join See You Next Tuesday was this band called Flesh and Blood Robot. And the guitar player of that band is this dude named Nick, and he works at Kuma's and apparently has enough clout or in a good enough position to pick who does burgers there. But it's something that they do. We weren't just that cool. We just happened to know a guy. But yeah, so they do this all the time.
Chris had a grill and he was flipping them.
Yeah.
No, are you aware of what Kuma's is?
No.
No.
Okay, you should probably explain that, Drew. You probably got better insight into it.
Yeah, it's just I mean it's just a really like world-renowned burger joint in Chicago. There's one in like Colorado and maybe one.
They have another one in the Chicago area. I think there's one in Indiana as well. They're just they're a really iconic, like metal themed burger shop.
Yeah, they have like the Pig Destroyer burger and the Converge burger.
Converge.
That's awesome. We don't have anything like that here.
Oh.
But Nick is the marketing director, the online marketing director for them, and he just happened to see that we were playing Chicago, which is we were playing right down the street from Kuma's, so
same street.
Yeah, so he wanted to see if we wanted to do a collaboration.
Yeah,
so that's how that came about.
Yeah, him and I started kind of emailing. I knew it was going to be a total shit show, like asking everybody what they wanted on their burgers. But the one thing that all of us love is pizza. So we're like, okay, well, let's do some sort of pizza theme type of thing. And Rick and I are both from Bay City, our bass player, who currently lives in the same town as, or city, I should say, as Fox. But Rick and I grew up here in Bay City, Michigan. A big popular item here is this thing called steak sandwich, which is just, you get it at Grandpa Tony's, and it's like the big French bread or Italian bread, with like a beef patty and then cheese. And then if you get it delivered, they put sauce on the side, because if it was delivered to you with the sauce on top, it would be like fucking falling apart and shit. So you can add stuff to it, mushrooms, Italian sausage, stuff like that. So we're like, okay, let's do that. And he's like, well, we don't change the bread or the patty at all. Like that's like our thing. We oven bake our own breads, and we have, like local sourced burgers that are specifically seasoned. We're not going to mix them with any of the meats, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just gave them the ingredients and they rolled with it, and they did their beef patty on their roll. And then they did sliced Italian sausage. They did it like a bacon. So they're cooked whole, but thin sliced like bacon. Mozzarella cheese and pepperonis, and the pepperonis were like toasted. And then it had the sauce on the side type of situation. And it was delicious.
That's awesome.
Absolutely
sound very good,
delicious.
yeah.
And here's the really cool thing is, so everybody that bought one that weekend, so we played on a Friday, but we were doing 3 shows that weekend. And whoever bought a burger at that Kuma's during the weekend, we gave away a signed copy of Distractions and a handful of merch. So many people got that burger on just Friday that they didn't have the ingredients to carry it on for the rest of the week.
Oh wow.
Or for the rest of the weekend. Yeah. So they just picked from the pool because they're going to buy enough stuff to make X amount, and they expected that, that would last 3 days. Hope it doesn't like infringe on the rules or whatever. I just thought of that, but no. Yeah, no, it was just really popular. Like, we picked the right fucking toppings because even people that had no idea who we were just like, that looks yummy. I'm gonna order 10 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you did. Yeah.
I love the cover for Distractions, and I saw the whole article about like kind of how. But how did you come up with the idea of painting her like that?
You want me to go or you want to go?
I'll let you talk about the painting. The idea of mixed art was initially my idea. My wife took the photo. We hired that model. My wife did the makeup on the model. You've probably seen, if you're looking at our posts and stuff, I do, our merch, our other photos from the same photo shoot of the same girl. So that was kind of always the plan. Like I said earlier, I'm a thinker. So I had a lot of time during COVID to just sit and think about shit, so, or even after when I was writing and walking and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I just had the idea of mixed media to some degree, and I'll let Fox kind of extrapolate a little bit more, but ultimately there are some lyrical themes with the record that involve like a conscience to some degree. So that's the overlaying, the photo with another layer on top of it. It's kind of a nod to, I guess somewhat mental health. I'll let Fox extrapolate more or explain more on that one.
Okay, so as far as the painting went, it was supposed to go a totally different direction. I have these images that I normally paint that almost look like really odd skulls. And I refer to that skull as something called con, which is short for conscious, which is inner thought or whatever, which I refer to a lot in lyrics from Parasite till now. So I was gonna do like kind of con skulls like all throughout the artwork. Didn't turn out how I planned. I actually painted over a bunch of them. But so I did a lot of the blackout. I was just trying to think of like kind of, I had this like, have you guys seen the movie Seven at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How John Doe's like notebooks were, and especially towards the intro of the movie where they kind of flips through his stuff. Like that was a huge inspiration for how I wanted to make this like kind of weird and like scribbly and just like kind of chaotic, just to show like kind of like inner like chaos that's going on. And that's why I also like, once I got them painted, we picked out the images that would be on what the artwork is. I took them in and then I recolored the original photo and superimposed it on top of it, to also try and show the kind of like the duality of like arguing with yourself in your head. So there's like two of them, like kind of like jumbled and blurry. But it's hard to kind of portray what we were like thinking about, especially because this was the artwork was Drew's idea. I probably would have went in a totally different direction. But it turned out awesome, like
Sure did. Yeah.
I like it a lot. It turned out pretty strong, which especially the cover. But it was like really supposed to kind of reflect like the mental health themes that like more of like just being tangled up in thoughts, with the to go along with the lyrical content or whatever. That's why there's all the smiley faces and the frowny faces through it too. Just kind of like,
wow.
Yeah. To kind of talk a little more on it too, because the process is really cool, but the process also took place almost as long as the record. We took those photos maybe October of so maybe a year into me writing it. So probably the halfway point is when we took those photos. And we kind of sat on them for a while, and I sent them to Fox, and then we ended up getting them printed on these big 20 by 20 boards. I'll show you one. Hold on, they're really cool.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But anyway, we had 5 of those that I printed, and I was just like, well, we don't know how many panels we're gonna need, or you might need one to just fuck around on if you make a mistake, whatever. So we printed those, and he sat on those for a while too. And we just kept going back and forth on ideas, because I'll be totally honest, we spent a lot of money to print them because we put them on like a poster board so he could, was firm enough to take a paint.
Yeah.
And the whole process, it was a lot of, I don't know. And then
yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, because I originally planned on digitally painting all of them and just wasn't working out.
Yeah, so that's where all like the blackening came. Is he like it took him a while, but once he like had that idea, I remember him like actually being excited about it when he had like it clicked, like, okay, I'm gonna paint the negative space and then put it on my computer, then I'll digitally put all the shit over top of that. And that's where the boards came in, so now we each get one of those. I have the actual cover one framed in my living room because he didn't want it. So
I think the biggest pain in the ass for all the layouts was I hand wrote all the lyrics in, like, and trying to fit it in the spaces that it was supposed to go was
if you guys end up getting the record,
yeah, it's insane. It's crazy how little shit gets
but it's absolutely amazing. The artwork, if you get the vinyl, I hope people, because it's not out yet, so people haven't really seen it. We posted some photos, but like when you actually see the detail that this guy put into it, like I can't say enough.
Yeah, we'll get the vinyl. I'm a vinyl junkie, so we'll get it.
Hell yeah. But it was so weird for me because I just had the idea and I used 2 other people to basically like make the idea come to fruition. It was a really fun and irritating process. But ultimately, like, we said, I mean, I think between my wife and Fox, we absolutely fucking
we did a totally different art layout for the cassette.
All right, well, very good.
Yes.
Well, thanks for all this. We love all the stories. It's great. Yeah.
Sorry I didn't let Chris talk as much as he deserves to.
It's okay.
Sorry, buddy. Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much for this, everybody.
We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. We love it. This is what we do.
The sounds of decay!
All right, this is Sounds of Decay 1. Malleus, The Fires of Heaven, brand spanking new, 2023. I love the album cover. It's very typical. It looks like Pacific Northwest with the fir trees and mountains and the kind of dark, gloomy colors. That's it. I immediately thought of Seattle, but anyway, if you're looking for speed metal reminiscent of the early Big Four releases with an air of witchy modernity.
Modernity.
With an air of witchy modernity.
Maternity. If you're looking for a record that's pregnant, I recommend this one.
So if you're looking for speed metal reminiscent kind of like the early like Big Four releases with an air of witchy but with a modern edge, you could do much worse than this 4-piece. Ironically enough, they are not from the Pacific Northwest, but on our coast in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
This band has had a couple of EPs and singles under their belts. They excel at old school nuance, like hard pin riff breakouts and weighty gallops that are coaxed from these pointy guitars.
Yes.
Malice's flair for epic songs, 3 are over the 7-minute mark. There's a lot in these songs, a lot.
Four Horsemen type. You don't get a lot of speed metal that's long like Four Horsemen or Hardening of the Arteries, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it was like I had to check to make sure it was still the same song that I was listening to the first time I heard it. So, but they really do well with dramatic transitions, and had us convinced they were actually of Scandinavian descent.
I thought they were from Norway. Or
Yeah,
something.
they really do sound like
they were
that old.
Pushing fish up the hill with their pregnant wife, but no, they're actually just very proficient Yanks, according to Google. So there's a lot of Slayer influence. I mean, if you listen to a song like Dark Sun Rises and Into the Flesh, but they add that black metal rasp that we love. The song The Watcher keeps the band. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me get this wrong. The vocalist is called The Watcher, and it doesn't list his real name on Metal Archives. But he keeps the band from sounding like a tribute act with his witchiness, and he adds several shades of darkness to the songs. The longer songs are ambitious for this style. The title track goes through 5 minutes of doomy riffing before it finally hits the gas pedal. It kind of reminds me of Whiplash from New Jersey back in the day. 8 minutes long, Awakening is like a Hellhammer tribute. Wow. It's got the croaks and the shrieks and the painful tar type riffing. Luckily, it picks up at the end.
I really like that Prophetess with that. At the end, it's just the guitar just going and rumbling and rambling, and then that's the vocals just screaming over it. It's beautiful.
The guitarist is called The Hammer, but his real name's Nelson. And he doesn't do a lot of flashy guitar solos.
No word if he actually does Hammer Time.
Good point. Yeah. But he more than makes up for it. He more than makes up for it because the songs are very captivating and the power is genuine. It's impressive stuff. Why don't you introduce the song?
This song, Melius, is A Dark Sun Rises.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 2. Take it away.
This is Cornosis?
Cornosis.
Sounds of Decay 2 is Cornosis. This is Visions of Infinality. Not to be confused.
It's hard to say.
Visions
of Infinality.
Not to be confused with Infinity.
Yeah,
and beyond.
They wanted to have that nihil in there.
Yeah. It's not Buzz Lightyear, guys. But there's a lot to absorb in this latest album. These guys are Swedish, tech thrashers. Mm-hmm. This is their second full length in this band's 12-year existence. Interestingly enough, this is a concept record. It spans 9 short songs.
The album's got kind of a Rain and Blood runtime. It's only 35 minutes long.
Wow. But somewhere in these short songs, you get the story of a king that's dethroned and cursed to become some sort of snake creature. I can only imagine a basilisk from Harry Potter, which slowly enacts its revenge on its usurpers. Kind of like the basilisk from Harry Potter. Maybe he was hidden in the Chamber of Secrets. We don't know.
Yeah, there's lots of rotting, killing, torturing the dissidents. Phrases like mephitic stench and transmuting blastopheres. I think we need thesaurus for some of this shit. But anyway.
Yeah, especially with their incredible infinality. But don't be fooled by the album's brevity. Drummer Jacob Hedner never lets up. This is like thrashing calculus that charges up and down, speeding and sulking rhythms with flair and finesse.
Yeah. The guitars are really densely layered. The riffs run the gamut between old school power chords and lots of dissonant squelches. The lead guitarist's name is Richard Person, and he's a person, I think. Obviously, he likes to accelerate into a kind of melodic sweeping leads like Michael Amott from Carcass. Every track on the album kind of straddles the line between Iron Fist thrash and roller coaster complexity. Of particular note is the vocal performance from the singer. His name's Jonathan. This is a very Norwegian name. Jonathan Karasiak, who alternates.
There's it's just.
He has this kind of gnarly woof and then a nasal shriek. And he can sometimes synchronize with the syncopation of the drums. So like if the drums will go like, he'll find a way to syncopate the vocal over that. And it's not the same every time. It's really wild. So Calamity Crawl blasts off at ludicrous speed, with Karasiak scowling through Blitzkrieg verses as person, offers wailing guitar solos. The only complaint that I have is there's so many layers of guitar, drum, and vocals that the bass kind of gets swollen up in the mix.
Yeah, we weren't even sure at first there was one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because I watched the video and the keyboarder, the bass player, Marcus Strinland, he plays this gorgeous wood-toned 8-string bass. And I just find myself craving that rich bass tone from like Death's Sound of Perseverance. That would really round this one out. And obviously, and the guy's playing with 2 hands, like, I mean, amazing, but it kind of gets swallowed up in the mix, but that's just a minor complaint. It's just great to see that these bands are becoming like the children of vector bands, like Hellripper that we featured last time, Needless, and now Carnosus. So why don't you introduce the song?
This is Carnosus with Calamity Crawl.
Right now.
Love that album. It's like the Dry Eye Vigil.
You pointed that out. I didn't think of that.
It's this eye kind of pouring.
I thought it
into
looked
a
like a
fountain.
Manila Road album called Crystal Logic, but no, you're right. No.
All right, rounding it out. Sounds of Decay number 3. All these bands have one-word names this week. Odd.
I know. It's just
Anyway,
the glut of death and thrash. Yeah, I know.
Sarcoptes, Prayers to Oblivion. Not to be confused with the other Oblivion. There's a certain sound that kind of pops to mind when a band is labeled symphonic black metal. Okay, everybody can sure pull that up.
Yep.
And your oral taste buds preparing for a Dimmu cheeseburger circa 2001.
The rhythmic loops, the distorted vocals, someone playing the theme from a soap opera on a synthesizer in the background. So, but this is nothing like that. And it's really interesting and refreshing. Yeah.
It definitely offers a new take on a familiar style. So enter Sarcoptes, named for a skin parasite. I
think it's the parasite that you get from scabies, which my daughter did have once. She got it from one of her providers, and when you get that, they give you this cream that you have to like slather her whole body with, and not take a bath for like 24 hours. It kills all the mites. It was funny because no one else got it. She had it all over her, poor thing, and I had it on my arm from where I sit and watch TV with her. So it was pretty itchy stuff. Anyway, let's get back to this. They're from Northern Cal, right?
And and apparently not itchy at all, that I know of.
Yeah.
But they are a duo.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like there's a lot more people on this, but it's a duo. They have a couple of EPs and now 2 full-lengths to their name. So don't be fooled by the very Walter Whitish, you fixed that up, photo on Metal Archives.
Yeah. I don't know how they made such great music while they're cranking out the blue meth. I don't know how they did it, but that's all. Yeah.
This band is practically overflowing with aggression for the 50 minutes that make up Prayers to Oblivion. So I think the album is lyrically strong. It's viscerally powerful, and it's frosted with these brushy strokes of artness thrown in.
Only 5 songs, so you can imagine this band has a flair for the epic. But the sense of urgency, it really is palpable from the very first song. It's kind of a war metal themed track called Trenches. Garrett Garvey's vocals are all but acidic. And the riffing in this one sounds like an outtake from Destruction era, 87. But it's got those synth swoops kind of layered over it. So it's really cool. So, yeah.
If there is a typical Sarcoptes track, Dead Silence may be it. It's charging at full speed for the first 7 minutes with decidedly Exodus-esque riffing.
Yeah, really Exodus-y. Yeah.
Garvey howling doomish phrases like, our names and deeds erased from the memory of this world from graves long forgotten. Our voices scream in silence. Before setting into a chunky mid-pace that's just adored. Settling into a chunky mid-pace that's just like adorned with these throbbing twin guitars.
I adore the way she talks, don't you? I adore the adored.
I adore the adored. It's so adorable. You're so adorable charging me with murder.
All right. So Sarcoptes appears to be a band that is capable of breaking all the rules, but still creating one of the year's most interesting and exciting extreme records so far. So let's play a song. This is just called Tet. Oh dear. I believe we've come to the end.
I think we've learned a lot, though.
Ask the Batman. Yeah. What all did we learn?
Wait.
Learned I'm out of coffee. No. Yeah, fine.
We learned about our patrons
Yes.
getting our exclusive merch.
The greatest coffee mug known to man.
We learned not maybe eat 3,000-year-old honey. These are scientists. 3,000-year-old honey. Don't do it.
Learn that if a joke is funny, you say it 3 times, motherfucker.
Oh, you gotta milk it. You gotta make it.
He does it so many times. He does it so many
Gotta
times.
make sure
And we learned about the incredibly important concept Norwegian diversity. I mean, you know. Fix her snowshoes. Come on. Have a heart.
We enjoyed the hell out of See You Next Tuesday.
Yeah, we did. We did. Lots of talk about being a mailman and, you know, the trials and tribulations of delivering mail. Yeah.
This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to Chris and Drew from See You Next Tuesday for appearing on the show. Be sure to get over to their Bandcamp page and order a copy of the Distractions ASAP. They also have some amazing t-shirts, including some of the artwork from the cover, that different shots of it, though. Really cool. The Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Gustav Jord of The Flesh. Long may they reign. Sounds of Decay theme, courtesy of Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Decay bands that we scoped out for you. You got to check them out. Sarcoptes, Malleus, and Carnosus. Be sure to get a copy of the new obituary while you're at it. Some awesome music there. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
I'm your biggest fan.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.